Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be the Boss Rush Very Hard Plus. I'm going to go through this fairly quickly. The first team here is going to be just a straight counter because in order to increase the orb, +2, the target takes melee weakness brave damage, so that's going to come from Orin. Second wave of bosses is going to be doing thunder and water damage. So here this is just a pure off-turn damage team, and the third team is going to be you have to do 850,000 damage with one character. That's where Twins is going to come in, and potentially even Citterine. And I also have each wave as a chapter, so if you look at the description, you can look at the timestamps if you want to move up to a particular wave. Check out the description, and that way you can jump up to any wave that you may want to see. So here, starting off with the first boss, the orb count does not appear on the first boss until about 79%. So here we're going to start off with Dive Bomb, and then going straight into Tornado with Orin. Orin is a beast. I really liked Orin. So if you haven't pulled on him or haven't seen my pulls video, pull on him or watch my pulls video where I talk about him and the reason I think you should pull for him, especially if you're a new player. And then here with this team, the goal is to just put the fixed dice on Orin and Core and let them go to work. I think that with this team, I should be able to get through these bosses without having to bring in the second team. And that's why I also brought in, I think, Ferris as a call, so that once I get into the second wave of bosses, I can use Ferris and then just start doing damage there. But this is going to be, I think, one of the easiest waves as long as you, as long as you have Orin. These bosses do something though, where towards the end it really starts to slow down your damage because at 79%, they start getting this aura. That every time you act, the boss will get a free turn and get an immediate action right after. So at a certain point, the bosses, every time you attack, their move is going to get forced up right away. So there's no way, I think, to avoid that. And then what ends up happening is that when they use Frostbite, for one turn, it's going to reduce your attack by 50%. And then also prevents Brave gains. So it's going to dramatically reduce the amount of damage that you're going to be doing unless you have Setzer. Once you're doing rainbow damage, it doesn't really matter the debuff they put on you, you're still going to do that max damage with Setzer. That's the reason I brought him in here. You could remove Setzer and put in somebody like Aerith, right? Somebody that avoids debuffs to the party, so that you don't get that that nasty one-turn debuff of 50% attack down and then preventing brave gains. And then something they're going to do is, I think it's a single target attack that insta breaks, and then it'll dispel non-framed buffs. That's going to be the Cold Breath Plus. So they can, it's just an annoying boss, but I never really see him do much damage. That's where Orin comes in here. Also Core. So Core is going to attack before they attack, and then Orin is going to attack do a counter attack after they attack. So you see here, Core and Orin are just doing a bunch of off-turn damage. So I think that they are ideally the main two characters that you should be bringing, I think, to this particular fight here. Even if you don't have Core, this is doable because you can even replace Core, let's say, with Aerith, and then now you're preventing debuffs. And then you can use some type of burst character. Maybe I would say somebody with maybe even Yuna, or you could bring in Garland. Anybody that just provides really good aura so that everybody is still hitting fairly hard, especially Orin. You want him to keep capping on damage. You can see every time Orin hits, it's over 100,000 damage per enemy. So when each one takes a turn, you're doing over 200,000 damage in those 2 turns to the enemies. So Orin does a lot of damage, bunch of damage. You also want to make sure that you remove any speed buffs from Orin, so that way his turn doesn't come up, I guess you can say, very frequently, and you should, the longevity of orange is going to be insanely crazy. But here again, see, when they use freeze ray, when they use these attacks, they're always going to be reducing my attack and stuff like that. But again, Setzer bypasses all that because it's when you hit for rainbow numbers, max damage. The boss rush wasn't too bad because I think it's only level 200. So I did notice that they don't have a lot of HP. I don't think this is considered a Lufenia plus. The only thing that makes the very hard different from very hard plus, although I think they're both level 200, is the turn count. So when you go to very hard plus, the turn count is 30, as opposed to, I believe, the regular 200 boss rush is 50. So it's designed for you to bring, your strongest damage dealing characters here, and the one thing that allows me to kind of get through this first wave without having to use a burst is Setzer and all of the off-turn damage that these characters are doing. If not, then you're definitely going to have to bring in a burst character, kind of like Garland or something like that, that could do a bunch of damage and then provide really huge auras to the party from their burst effect. But here you'll start seeing that only with 11 turns left, most of the damage comes here at the very end. And you could also bring maybe like some type of enchant imperiler. I'm not sure if these guys, if you can stop their attacks with confuse with like Agrius or anything like that. I didn't try that. I haven't seen anybody's run where they use Agrius. I really haven't even seen anybody else's run, to be honest with you. I usually try to go through these runs without getting any type of idea on who to use by watching other videos. I just kind of look at the boss's mechanics and then just try to have fun creating a team around what the bosses actually do. And if I have trouble, whatever, then I'll probably go in there, start watching some videos of other clears to get some ideas. But that's been super rare. I can't remember the last time I actually really did that. I just kind of like to figure it out on my own. I think that's kind of one of the fun parts about the game. So you'll see here their damage, or their HP is now really kind of like just melting away here. And if I had a burst character, I'm not sure how much better it would really be because of the debuffs that they put. So they get frequent turns, so even if you're bringing some type of cleanser as a call, I'm not sure who cleanses on calls, but even that wouldn't really be very efficient because they're gonna keep applying the debuffs. So I felt like my only option here was bypassing the debuff by bringing in Setzer with his LD and the fixed ice buff that it gives your party. Or the second way around it would have been to bring in Aerith, and I think it's either Agrius as well. I forgot the character that gives your party, I think, 100% debuff evasion aside from Aerith. But I think Aerith would be a really good character for this stage right here. And with 8 turns left, I should still be able to defeat these guys and go straight into wave 2. And then once you get into wave 2, that's where they're going to resist Holy. I'm not sure why exactly they picked that for these bosses on wave 2. The count seems. Not sure who you would. I mean, to avoid Paladin Cecil, I'm assuming. Because I don't think there's really too many Holy enchanters and things like that. So I'm not sure why they threw that in there. But they're also immune to launches. So they're going to be weak to magic attack and they're going to resist melee. So wave 2 is going to be more magic attackers. Now, being the fact that Orin and Core are melee attackers, I wouldn't do that much damage. But that's the reason I also bring in Setzer, because you kind of bypass that as well. Setzer bypasses literally everything, I think, in the game. With this fixed ice. So from, even if they had 1,000,000 plus defense, or 1,000,000 plus defense up, it still doesn't matter. The fixed ice goes right through literally everything. So that's why another reason why I brought in Setzer. so that if I have any turns going into wave 2, I can still be doing some damage since they do resist melee, and I know that Orin is like the main character I think for wave 1, or to bring into wave 1. But these guys never really do anything, any real damage, and then always doing the rainbow damage here as well. You shave off that brave right away. Then here, I get 3 turns in starting wave 2. So in wave 2, it's as you can see here, I'm still doing damage, although they resist melee. And because I thought I was gonna have more turns, I'm not gonna use Ferris's call, so that was kind of a waste of a call slot there. Now we're gonna go into the second party. Now the second party is gonna consist of purely off turn, or almost off turn damage, with Ace, Yang, and Garnet. I'm gonna swap out here and just go with Ifrit. I don't plan on taking, I think, really any damage from these guys, but right away apply Kurisame's call. Now every time you go into the next party, the debuffs reset. You can still use the same calls, things like that, so you can use Kurasame, I think, and I recommend it for literally every wave, just so that you increase the HP damage dealt. And since these guys shouldn't really be taking turns, that's the reason I also brought an Ifrit, because I really don't plan on taking damage. Even if I do, Garnet is going to be able to heal me up. Yang here is a monster in this stage. He provides so much damage, and Garnet's animations are just also amazing here. But here the reason I didn't bring Ferris is because I think she's going to take up too many slots. She's going to apply too many debuffs, but I at least want to get another type of defense down, so that's for the reason I brought in Sephiroth, because I plan on having two of Ace's debuffs on. So the first one should be the, oh my god, I forgot the name of his first debuff, the whole card. I think it's called whole card. So with Ace, this first debuff, which gives 40% down, is whole card, and then if I use his HP attack, because it gets converted to HP plus, which is a blind stud turn. Once I do that, then it's going to activate the trap and now have the blind stud turn on it, which is another 40%. So I'll have blind stud turn minus 40% defense, his whole card minus 40% defense, then Sephiroth's call, also defense down, and then with Garnet, she's going to enchant and imperil. Enchant your party and imperil for both elements. So at that point, that's why I think Yang and everybody's just always capping on damage as well. And plus, it's only 200, level 200. So I don't think it's considered again Lufenia plus, but correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. So you'll see here Yang is just doing a good amount of damage, and then you got Ace with his trap going off. Then you have Garnet doing her follow-up attack as well. It's just almost all this damage comes from off turn. So you can see there, Yang doing more damage, Ace's trap going off. This team here, this team comp is just, it's pretty crazy. I actually really was surprised when on this team when everything started going off, from the traps to then Yang right there, and sorry, Yang and then the traps go off. It's just, the damage is crazy, and then Garnet comes in every 4 turns with her follow-up attack. This is just a really good team. Because I was kind of going through the characters and trying to see how many off-turn damage characters I had and things like that. Once I put them together, I just knew that this was going to be a really good team to put together. But aside from that, other people that you could use, again, they're not immune to HP disable, so you can do that. You could bring maybe even potentially Agrius, but I think that the main goal of this boss rush, at least when you're doing the plus version, is to just, again, do as much damage as possible. And that's the reason that I think that this team is really ideal. Now, I don't have Cloud of Darkness. I would have brought in like say for example like a Cloud of Darkness, if I would have had a Cloud of Darkness as well, and then doing somebody maybe like even Tidus. I know that he's melee and they resist it, but as long as you enchant in peril, you should be fine. So that could work as well. You could even bring in, I would think, even Terra, pairing like Terra up with maybe even like Yang and Cloud of Darkness, just to do that amount. I mean, just an insane amount of damage, because as Terra's doing her attacks, then you got Cloud of Darkness doing her burst follow up, and then you have Yang as well. Even probably bringing in Setzer, or not Setzer, Ace with Cloud of Darkness. And sorry, there's like a plane flying over my house, so I'm not sure you guys hear that. But this team should get me through wave 2, well into wave 3, because I believe here you do have to defeat them with, or you have to defeat the whole boss rush within with 3 teams or less. So each team is going to, that I've brought in, will allow me to continue with that team into the next wave, even if it's just slightly. Every bit helps. And here even Yang, like I didn't expect Yang to do so much damage. I actually just wanted to try him out just to see how much damage he would do, and he was just doing a huge amount of damage here. As you can see, at one point he's doing over 200k to one enemy and another over 100k to the other enemy. And I think Yang's counter lasts for like most of the entire match, if I'm not mistaken. But this team was, again, insane. They're already at less than 10%. I still have 14 turns left. This team right here, this team composition again was crazy. So here I think that one of Garnett's imperils, I think, came off. I think that's why Yang wasn't doing as much damage. Or actually no, it's because when so here when you hit the enemy with melee, they're going to attack you with the counter that completely dispels all of your buffs, even if they're framed, which is why Yang stopped doing so much damage and they were resisting the melee. But if you can notice, it really didn't make too much of a difference. And then I still think it was worth bringing him. And so now I have 11 turns with the second party going into wave 3. And here these guys could be dangerous, and they are weak to wind damage. So I do end up putting oh my god, what's his name? I do end up bringing in or swapping out Warrior of Light, which I originally had as a call, and I end up bringing Fujin. Or I can think of his name. I end up bringing Fujin as one of the calls. And here Ace's damage is crazy right there. That's his burst when his burst expires, I guess you can say. His burst effect, he does that. And I thought that was a really cool animation. But as you can see here, 7 turns left. I'm almost getting the main boss to 20% or below, or I've taken away 20% of his life. Now these guys can kill you very, very easily. So you do have to watch out, and if possible, don't let them take any turns. In order to increase the orb, you do have to deal about 850,000 HP damage in total to all enemies in 1 turn with 1 character. So I think that this doesn't work if you're launching. I don't think the launch counts towards that, but they are launchable. So I'm gonna bring in for sure Sid Reigns here. And then having Yang counter, as you can see here, there's really no worry, just because of, again, all of the off-turn damage, as you can see there, just with the Yang's counter and then Ace's trap going off. These guys never really can attack with Max Brave or anything like that. And then these they can use an attack that again can kill you, but you want to kill the main robot first. because if any of the mini robots dies, the main boss will get a 30% boost to all his stats, 60% boost to his speed, and then if you kill both of the small bots, it gains up to 150% attack, another defense plus 200%, and 100% to every other stat. So don't kill them smaller guys. If possible, kill them all at the same time. That's ideal, but if you can't, go for the main bot in the middle, which is B. You do not want to kill any of the bots, especially both of them at the same time. Again, at that point, it's might as well just reset, I think. So here, we're going to go into the next team, and then the next team, here you're going to see that I will swap out, I think, Jack for Fujin. I did put Warrior of Light, but when I ran through it, I had reset it. So here, although I did put Warrior of Light, I went back in, reset it, and I kind of messed up how I did the video. But I cut that part out, so when you see that we get to, I think, what is it? The twins, they're going to have Warrior of Light instead of Fujin. So I just messed up when I was trying to speed up the video when I cut that part out. But here, again, very, very simple. Bringing in Ferris's Call for defense down, and then here Imperil and Enchant with Fujin, so that way I'm hitting for weakness damage. And then if you can notice, the orb was pretty low, but with the twins, it's gonna quickly go right back up. The twins just, again, do so much damage that in total they will do more than 850. You can even do more than 850 to each target if you end up, I think, using their burst, and then their burst effect and things like that. Just make them hit really, really hard, like 1,000,000+ damage per character, I think, if you have the twins fully maxed out. Here I'm going to go ahead and use, again, Kurosame. I use Kurosame's Call in literally every wave. And then I'm going to use, the reason I brought in Zidane was, again, to delete the turns, really not let them take any turns. They don't move their turns up at all, kind of like the first wave of bosses or anything like that. So you can delay them forever, you could delete their turns, whatever it is. And that way you don't let them attack, because they do have some, again, like I said, some pretty strong attacks that can wipe your team. So here with Zidane, it's going to help everybody also increase their damage. So now having Ferris's Call, having Fujin's Wind Enchant, since they are weak against wind, then you have, I think I already said that, but having Zidane's burst effect and all that, altogether is going to allow everybody to hit tremendously hard. It's here, besides deleting their turns, then I also have Sid Reigns that could just bring Zidane's turn right back up and then delete, somebody else's turn. So Zidane, I think, is extremely helpful for this run. I would highly suggest, if you do have Zidane, bring in Zidane. If you don't, you could even bring in Garland if you pull for Garland, some type of delayer. Even probably, I would probably say even Quistis if you pull for Quistis, just because she does have the ability to delay each target by 3 turns. And here again, since it's a damage race, I'm just gonna go straight into my summon. Now that I have all the debuffs on, I have Kurosame's debuff, Ferris's, I have Wind Enchant and Imperil, then I have Zidane's burst effect. In order to maximize or take a full advantage of everything going on, buffs and debuffs, then I'm going to go straight into the summon. And then going into the summon, here you'll see that it's 1.2 million damage. So these guys, have no chance. And again, it's always going for the middle boss first, if possible. What I try to do is just kind of defeat them all at the same time, because the twins' power comes from having the 3 enemies on the field. So if I was to just go ahead and wipe out the main boss, then the amount of damage that the twins do does get reduced. And being the fact that I have turn delay and I do have Sid reigns to keep moving everybody's turn up. There's no reason for me to have killed the main boss first. It's more of trying to get them all to die all at the same time. And that's the reason I'm swapping between targets here. And then since twins, all their attacks do the same HP damage to everybody, no matter who you target, then I'm always going to target whoever is launchable. And then right there I messed up with Zidane actually uses HP attack instead of his Brave attack. But I should have used his Brave, but it's not like it really mattered. I'm going to be left with more than enough turns here to defeat them. So yeah, hopefully you guys didn't have too much trouble with this. Hopefully, you know, this video helped you out on putting maybe some a good team composition. I highly suggest that second wave as well, which is going to consist of Ace, Yang, and Garnet. If you don't have them and you say you have Cloud of Darkness would have been great to have replaced with, let's say for example, Yang, bursted with her, I would say. That way you get a bunch of off-turn damage with her as well. So hopefully you guys didn't, again, have too much trouble. If you guys do decide to go through this, hopefully this video did help you out. And I will also here, I'll show very quickly all three teams that I did use for reference for you guys. So good luck on the boss rush. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for new content. Also, let me know in the comment section what you think about this mission and who you used to complete it. Check the links in the description for Opera Omnia websites that give you a bunch of helpful information, and I'll see you on the next one.